We have the top 100 players under 100K. Beautiful, beautiful people. What's happening? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new to these parts, broken, rank 1, foot champs, debatable, the pine. We got so much energy. If you'd like me to bump the price range, drop a like on this here piece of goodness. Adama Traore, not what he once was, but still put him in the foot champs. The Saudi, Al Orion. I can never say his name. I'm giving him debatable off rip. That can be unpopular, I understand. We're coming in quick fire today. Dele Alli, part of the esports edition. Also going into debate. Araujo has been good money for me all year. Might start him off from rank 1. Aubameyang, top tier value. SBC that most of you should have completed. There are mixed opinions in terms of the resolve that you're going to get, but I find him as a threat. Baggio, always the Italian, Brazilian with beautiful locks. Still into the debate. Ballack, I'm coming in hot takes today. I didn't love him. What do you want me to say? I see the stats. I read the stats. I played with them. Maybe 50 games. I thought that he was kind of overrated. He was decent, but he wasn't groundbreaking. There are better midfielders. Baresi, you can do better, my friend. Barnes, wow. I'm a bit of a fanboy. If you've used Barnes this year, actually given him some time, some PT in the squad, I think you'll agree with me. Moves different, feels better, has physicality, can score, can facilitate, good play styles. Jude Bellingham on the inform. Players have caught up to him a little bit. These tiers are based on players that fall into this price point. I also made a separate video for 50K and under. So if you're missing some cheaper options, it's in that video. 50 players under 50K. You see what we're doing here with titles. Benacer, thought he was decent. I'm just coming in a little hotter than usual. Sometimes I'm not this critical. Today's one of those days. Kareem the Dream, foot champs all day. What a fun item to use. Right off the rip, that 90 overall when the game released, he was surprising folks with the Saudi move. Berardi, I know that some of you love this guy. He hasn't got over the hump for me. I want him to. Something about his movement. It doesn't feel next level for a winger or a striker or an attacking player. I'm not slicing and dicing. Dennis Bergkamp, what value? I'm not sure if I love him as a center mid. He's based a little bit better body type maybe for a center mid, but I want to be able to score goals, and the fact that EA put his shooting into the 70s bothers me. It makes me uncomfortable. Dennis Bergkamp is an all-time great. Henry said he was the greatest player he ever played with.
Best player you played alongside?
Dennis Bergkamp.
Ooh, okay. Not Messi?
Dennis Bergkamp.
And you're giving this man a 70-something for shooting. No. Bomb Pastor. The 89 would be broken. One of my favorite fullbacks in the game, but you need the 89. It's a big increase, noticeable upgrade, but I'll still put the 86 into foot champs. Bruno, he's not getting minutes for me. Some of you might say I'm a hater. I'm going against the grain. Something has been missing for Bruno Fernandes in this season. Sol Campbell, I don't like. A lot of you love him. He always concedes penalty kicks every single time that I've used him. He's clunky. I don't do a great job with facilitation. For me, I think Balde's got to be at least for the weekend. I love that you have multiple positions. He does have the burner. His positioning can be a little bit iffy. Talking about on the virtual pitch, there's been times where I've had concerns. Cancelo, I'm a fan. Apparently it's going to be very difficult to get into broken today. I would recommend Cancelo, one of the best on the ball fullbacks. Facilitation, dribbling, responsiveness, first touch. I wish he was a little bit faster. I think we all do, but on the ball, creme de la creme. Capdevia, unfortunately on the decline, and I love Capdevia. I'm a fan. I am a supporter. I've used this item plenty this year. We just had too many upgrades at this point. Casemiro up front, feeling a little funky. I don't know if I can get him into rank 1 or not. He's not a natural striker, even with the positional change in the attribute adjustments. I'm not mad at some of these early shapeshifters. I'm surprised that by the time we got into December, we're already seeing shapeshifters. I have a lot of concerns, in fact, with the game in so many players that have already been introduced, the higher ratings. I'm starting to think FIFA Mobile, are we going that direction? Are we going to experience a bunch of players at a 99 overall soon enough? Therefore, we have to scale up. We're going to have 105s, 110s, 120s. If you play FIFA Mobile, you see where I'm going. Ashley Cole, it's not bad for the value. It's not. I just would tell you to spend a little bit more, get the 89, and call it a day. Courtois, currently at maybe 115K, and that will be dropping as it's being recorded. There's a couple players that are right on the cusp. They're just a little bit over 100K, but by the time the video releases, I have a feeling they're going to be at 100K or less. That was my reasoning. And I also don't want to X off players that are right there. KDB, the baseline. I think he's in the pine. We've had too much, way too much. De Lorenzo, sort of slept on. I like De Lorenzo, a little bulky for perfect fullback usage, but defensive chase back. If you like that Kyle Walker-esque, this could be your Italian choice for a similar feel. Dybala, amazing value. Highly, highly recommended and regarded. I think I'm giving him broken. I went straight up to the top. We'll see if I have to adjust, but I like him a lot. Enzo, sort of average. I packed this item. He's not necessarily good enough to get into starting 11s as it stands. I think I'm putting him to the pine. I'm sorry, Chelsea fans. That's just where my stance is currently. Stevie G can get into the debate. Giroud, Olivier. If you're whipping in a lot of crosses, I can see and feel the value right now. The whipped pass coming in strong with that Giroud. Joe Gomez, for under 100K. I'm getting him the broken. He's not as good as he has been in previous installments. I want to be very clear. His overpowered nature, not at that level. I'm still giving him broken, and I would prefer having Joe Gomez over Araujo, even though Araujo, from the beginning of the game, showed so much promise. Grimaldo, fantastic. I actually prefer him out wide. I would play him out wide. Gonna give him a safe rank 1. Holland, and I wonder if we should have included the 87. Clear, night as day, rank 1. I'm actually teasing the idea of broken for under 100K. I'm still using him. I'm still putting him into motion. I think he's still so problematic. He's got a unique body build, and he's good enough. I just played a weekend league, and he played the entire weekend league. With all the upgrades, promos that we've had, Holland was still good enough. As long as you have players around him, you could feed him. Kind of a one-man, put your head down and take off with the sprint. He gets on the back end to chip through balls. As you're well aware, anything in the air crossing, Holland is going to be a viable option. Haji! His touches are so crispy. For this value or evaluation, I'll get him into the weekend league. Hernandez, a little more one-dimensional. The passing and the physicality. As you go up against better defenders, better chase back players, even if you have more build-up that's necessary, Hernandez is a little more limited. Now, if you hit him on a counterattack, brilliant. Hierro, we're just going to give him the pass as it stands. I know he's an icon. Sometimes I talk about him being underrated. Not this year. Immobile just doesn't do it for me. I'd love for him to be more influential. If anything, I wish his price tag was cut in half. Would give him a better value stance. This is not what the video is necessarily about. It's only in the price points, not necessarily where you fall within the price points, but something with Immobile has been missing, and it does not change this year, even with the upgraded skill moves and the weak foot. Harry Kane. I've seen people use Harry Kane well, but he's too slow and too much of a big body type to play at a high level. You have to build an entire team around him, and I've done that. It's just not going to be the easiest player to incorporate. Karkawi. I'm going to argue for rank 1, and I would still put her into the equation of being better than Bacha. I know how much people love Bacha, and I've had a positive experience. I can give affirmations here. She's just not my personal favorite. If anything, Bomb Pass Store, 89 overall. Put that on screen. Big on screen. That's been my favorite. Of all the women defenders, that's the one. It didn't move me. That's what it is. It's a reality. Kimmy, at least for the weekend, it's got to be said. I want Kluivert to be higher, but I've gone up against him a lot, and he's not causing issues. He's not that problematic. He's not that disruptive. If we're going to stay Dutch, Ronnie, decent, use this item. He felt too ordinary as a center back. I wouldn't be upset at all if he pushed him into foot champs, but by definition, feels right and debatable. Kubo is just outdated. If we did this video 2 months ago when he was first released, my stance would be so different. But 85 overall, at this point, it's going to be hard to get into any rotations with regularity. Kudus, just because the item upgraded, he does have the burner, he's fast. I don't concede a bunch of goals, but if you're looking for that end line sweat, that pullback, he could be part of that agenda. Sadly, I've gone up against that. Kvaratskhelia, I never say his name well. I like him. I'm not in love with him. Informs are tricky because the upgrades are sometimes relatively small compared to the promo versions of the same players. Loudrup, don't do it. Please don't do that to yourself. He just doesn't have the juice. Lewandowski, just for the finishing and some of the skills. He's got a presence in the final third. Not going to be your best counterattack player, but what he can achieve on the edge of the box, outside of the box, within the box, attacking positioning wise, I'm saluting him. Lineker has not been what's up. I think I'm putting him into the pine. I'm sorry. I don't want to do that. It's just the reality is he's become a player that if you pack, you're so disappointed. Locatelli, I'll throw him into the debate. I haven't seen him in a bunch of rotations. Chucky is so fast. Just for the pace and the scare. There's a fear tactic when you got Chucky Lozano on the pitch. Maguire, let's go. Big upgrade for him on a personal level. I don't know that I'm going to put him into rank 1. I think a lot of people would like that just based on there's almost a troll aspect with Harry Maguire. Maybe he'll move. We got future discussion. Lautaro, top tier value again, but he doesn't move me in the game. McManaman is on the move right now. This item's solid. Could be moving up from rank 1 to broken. And it's a strange shift because his previous iteration before the Marvel upgrade was not in conversation or discussion. This upgrade was monumental for his personal usage rate. Put him into the debate, but if you're gonna put Modric into a rotation, go UCL, happy days, call it a day. Make that pickup, spend the extra cash flow. Bobby Moore is gonna be a no-go. Sorry, Bobby. Morientes, who I just packed for this larger body type-esque takedown player. I really like him for that role, but it's his only role. Big Mook is in the talks. Could get into broken. New iteration, I like him a lot. Good track record. Proof of concept is right. A lot of links with the Frenchman. Nedved. Oh, this pains me to put him into the debate. I don't want to talk about it. Nesta. No, no, no. I don't care how many times he gets upgraded because there is an improved Nesta variation that's more expensive. Just don't use Nesta. Osimhen, I don't love him. I don't. I'm actually putting him into the pine. Even the UCL item when it was released, I said that he was overpriced and overrated. I don't mean that with offense. We're talking about a video game, but he does not perform for yours truly. The turning, the dribbling, the responsiveness, the passing, the facilitation. He's more of a counterattack player. Maybe I just don't fit into the game plan. I maybe am not meant to use Osimhen. Michael Owen, smooth, quality finisher. I don't know if you want to play him out wide. Can be a little more limited with the passing, the physical side of things. Petit's got to be at least for the weekend, even though players are catching up, not as high rated. The game's been moving on. Pires is cool, but I don't think you're jumping out of your seat. I don't think you're saving grace and sending prayers. You're not that worried going up against him, which plays a factor here as well. I make videos for the macro. This Prince, one of the worst icons in the game, kind of like the Miroslav Klose of the women's side of icons. And I'm not trying to throw any shade or disrespect to Miroslav. He's just not good in FC 24. Carlos Puyol, same situation. I'd love to make it work. Long hair, plays for the badge, emotional, passionate. So many positive superlatives I could insert for him on a career trajectory and career path. I just don't think he's good on the game. Lodi is smooth. If you need a fullback, you probably actually get him into the weekend rotation. I think Lodi can make himself usable or viable in foot champs. I've seen people trying to make it work, but I'm not moved. I'm not moved. I'm telling you, we're coming in a little strict today, a little more strict than normal. I like Rijkaard. Again, players are catching up. Prefer him as a center back. Love that on the record, please. Ruben Diaz, he's cheaper for a reason. He's going into the pine. Riquelme, oh, he's just not meant for greatness. Not that version. If you can afford the upgrade, go get the upgrade. It will improve your experience. The same with Rush. He's not being used. It's not a coincidence. It's not by accident. You could skip. The Saint, I like Saint Maximin. At least foot champs. Potentially into rank 1. We're going to have a review at the end of the video to really distinguish some of these players. I try to keep broken a small category. Saka, it's going to be a different price tag, but you want to go UCL here. Is he really pine-ish? Because Saka can play as a center mid, especially if you play with multiple center mids, you have a few of them on the pitch, he kind of interjects into a hardworking central mid position. He's not really a natural winger if we're talking about virtual pitch. Sane, boy, is that man fast. I think he's one of the most dangerous super subs in the game. Sane comes on, he is about to smoke you. Absolute danger and threat in terms of a through ball or being able to sprint by somebody. Schlotterbeck, I like him. That's kind of the review. I've used him a lot. I have a lot of trust with Schlotterbeck. If you're building out of the Bundesliga, you need some cheaper options. I think both Sane and Schlotterbeck can fit into that equation. Hugo Sanchez, does he do enough to get himself past the debate is the question and into the weekend? His touches are kind of clean, crispy. That's where I'm at as a conversation piece. I got reliability there. Paul Scholes, I love him in real life.
Headed out by McCann. How?
You're not using him, and it's not by accident. Same with Schweinsteiger, maybe a little bit better as a holder, but he's not in a bunch of rotations, and there's a reason. We have a lot of options, viable options. Plenty of these players are not as good, not because they fell off, but because EA has introduced so many players that are in similar competitive zones. That's the reality. Seedorf, I would be doing him a disservice to not put him into at least debatable. I don't know what to do with Alan Shearer. You could try to make this work. I'll let you do it for the legendary status. Absolute Premier League icon. Just not meant for a bunch of FIFA success. That's always been part of his narrative, sadly. Shevchenko, no one is using him. So for that reason, I've got to put him into the pine. I like this Silva item. Boy, I just got roasted by him recently. His touches, so clean. I'll put him into foot champs. I don't know if we can justify going above that. He's not really meta with the pace, the physicality, the defending, the body type. But for this particular role where you need a quick little touch and move, someone that has dribbling and has facilitation, and he's a little bit more deceptive than you would expect. Very nice with the left stick dribbling as well. Socrates, I like him. The philosopher. I just don't think people can figure out where to play him. Therefore, I'll put him into the debate, whether it's a center mid, a holding mid, a false nine-esque type role. That's been his critique. Schneider and his newest version has gotten a severe upgrade. He's got to be at least foot champs. A little bit of an in-betweener. Depends what you're looking for with the squad. At the moment, we're going to put him for the weekend. Soboslai. He's cool. Not a game mover for me. Talisca to the top. If you know how I get down, Talisca has been my guy. Stays as my guy. Heavy. I love the unorthodox nature of being tall, but still being agile. And if I whip in across, no problem. I knock it down. If you want skills, you want explosiveness, you want some creativity, some ingenuity, all of that is there. It's been there. Has not left us. Schuker, he's back. Let's go. This item in particular, I believe Schuker's getting himself into a foot champs discussion. I wouldn't even be mad if you thought Schuker was pushing towards a rank 1. Florian into the middies. I don't see him being used much, but if you have him, I don't think you're complaining. Carlos Tevez, I'm going rank 1. I was discussing, internalizing, reflecting if he should get into broken, but it's not the upgraded version. This one is solid, but that Marvel version is what you're after, and the price point supports that. Van Basten is a no-go. I understand if you're trying to make it happen. Virgil van Dijk to the top, for sure. You can still use this Virgil van Dijk similar to Haaland right now. He's in that elite category of gold players. They might not be as good as Mbappe, but Mbappe's in that same selection. I would say Neymar, who was in the previous 50K video. There's a few gold players, not many, but there are a handful that are still able to do the business, and they have dropped in price significantly. Van Nistelrooy in goal. I don't know how we want to play this. Goalkeepers are kind of funky as it stands. If you want them somewhere else, so be it. So much preference when it comes to goalkeepers. RVP, debate. Varane, he should be better. Seriously, he should be better. Debate. Voller, dangerous. I'm telling you, a German with a mullet, you can't trust that. You know he'd be phenomenal on a night out. I'm putting respect on his name. Xavi Alonso, not for me. If you want a counter opinion, I'm hearing it. He's a fantastic manager. Shout out to what he's been able to accomplish already with Bayern Leverkusen. If they win the Bundesliga, come on. Speaking of Wirtz is a good follow-up. Speaking on Bayern Leverkusen, just hasn't made it to FIFA stardom. I think that's the reality. I'm not being negative. This is based on a video game. I don't make the stats or the deliveries. I'd be surprised if you had Wirtz above the Pine or the debate. Zanetti, he's still not one of my favorites. He's decent. I've seen him in the weekends. People are trying to make him work. There's an upgraded version if you have a little more budget. Zinchenko is smooth. I don't know if I can put Zanetti and then move Zinchenko above Zanetti, but I like his passing. It feels a little bit better than plenty of the fullbacks in terms of facilitation out of the back. And then Zola, at least to the weekend, even though players are catching up, his speed and responsiveness is good. let's review. As for the Pine, as per usual, if you're in here, I don't usually see you moving up. And the one player that is going to make a case is going to be Shevchenko. My apologies to the Ukrainian. He has moved up. Debatable is difficult because plenty of these players, hence why they're debatable, you could move up or down and I wouldn't be upset with your choice. I wouldn't have a passionate counter opinion. Morientes stands out and makes a little bit of a case for me to go up. For that type of player, I like Morientes. Some of y'all will talk about Ashley Cole, but I'm telling you the game is caught up to him unless you have the upgrade. I'd love to have Capdevila or Nedved higher just from a personal bias, but I don't see it. Let's get to the top. As per usual, we have our 5 and broken. I like that. We will have some cases and discussions made. For foot champs, 2 rows. It's not that overpopulated as a group. Some of y'all might not push Haji into foot champs, but I'm keeping him there. He definitely feels iconic. Jude Bellingham barely keeps it alive for the visionary. I mean, I'd hear a Schneider case if you'd like, but what's right is right. Rank 1, Voller, but people are catching up. Otherwise, I talk about Voller, maybe even going as far as broken. I like him over Tevez. Big Mook, big fan. More of a center back. McManaman, definitely supportive. I think we've done this right. Grimaldo is special this year. He's got some elitism. If you want, maybe Courtois moves down. Depends how you're playing your strikers. I still think just the sheer size and craziness that brings. Corner kicks, set pieces. Araujo plays a center back. Please and thank you. Barnes, if you know, then you know. I'm not changing anything. You know what? That's what it's going to be. We're staying true today, boys and girls. 100 players under 100K. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. And if you're new to the channel, it's free to subscribe. I appreciate all of you, and I have a lot more content coming out ASAP.